with the defendant either at or near the time of the offense which is alleged to have been committed in this case. So it seems to me that a person can give testimony regarding whether or not, based on their context with them, whether they thought the defendant was sane at the time. They cannot give testimony unless qualified as an expert and a sufficient foundation is laid. They cannot give testimony regarding a diagnosis that may have rendered the defendant insane, but they can testify as to whether or not they saw certain things, whether she was, I think the prosecution has gone down the line of, did she refer to herself by a different name? Did she seem to know what was going on? In addition, with respect to, I think it was Van Nest was the name of the nurse yesterday. She's in a little bit different position. Number one, she was qualified to testify as an expert, true, not in the, as a psychologist or psychiatrist, but part of her job requires her to obtain consent from a patient in order to perform an examination. And before she can obtain that consent validly, as she testified, she has to make sure that the patient understands the procedure, understands what's going on, understands why she is requesting what it is that she's requesting, and that the patient has the present capacity to be able to understand all of that and make a decision regarding that. So I think her testimony regarding whether or not the defendant was sane was properly admitted. So with that, Mr. Tellini, did you want to make further records, sir?
Just briefly,
Go ahead.
in regards to the sane nurse, I think it's different her testifying whether or not she was mentally signed the releases and so forth. I think she has a training on that, and my objection, my objection to her that she's sane. I think that has a legal connotation that she's not qualified or does not have the foundation. I understand the court's ruling, but just that's what my objection is too. And I understand there's Medina, and there's, in my reading of Medina, there was kind of two issues that the court had with the officers, with the two basically law enforcement people testifying. One was, I understand the court saying the proximity and time when they're contact with them. It also seemed that they were stressing that the contact was of somewhat of a limited duration. In it, I think one of them only had like an hour-long interview with them. Tally, and I understand Tally, it's unclear from the case how much contact the supervisor had with the defendant, whether this was, we've been supervising for years, we've been supervising for, a month. And so we don't necessarily have this that we had to focus on the time. It's depending on how this case goes out, we'll have some direction from the Supreme Court on how to interpret Medina, even though it's a 50-year-old case. It doesn't seem that there's a lot of cases subsequent to it explaining what the actual foundation is. And so I think I made the record pretty clear. And again, I don't want, I'm not going to make a long record, in the.
That's fair.
For this attorney, when they're asking that question, I'm objecting to. I'm going to have that foundation, and I think that would make a sufficient difference, so they understand what they're focusing on.
All right. Prosecution, do you have any other record to add?
Yes, briefly. Good morning, Your Honor. It's the people's position that we agree with the court on the analysis of the cases that you just cited. However, the jury is also going to be instructed on what insanity is. They're also going to be instructed, at least in the packet that we provided, that a layperson can weigh an opinion about insanity. At the end of the day, all of this goes to the weight of the testimony, because they also going to be getting instruction on the credibility of all witnesses. And they can base the amount of time that the witnesses have spent with the defendant and weigh their credibility on that. So the instructions of law will cure any concerns that defense has.
Okay. All right. And that was a long way to start the morning. Sorry about that. Anything we need to bring up outside the presence of the jury at this point in time?
No, Your Honor.
Yes. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring the jury in. going to start with the video?
No, I'll start with some testimony first, obviously, yeah. And there's actually, will be 4 videos during her testimony. The long one will be her interview that she conducted on January 29th, I think it is. It's about a little over 4 hours.
We'll also need to find a breaking point this
Yeah,
morning.
yeah.
Okay. All rise for the jury, please. Fine, it's all good. I'm positive. I can see it's fine. Thank you. May all be seated. Court will recall 20 CR 1358 People versus Letecia Stauch. Record should reflect the jury has returned to the courtroom. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Has anything occurred since we were last together that causes any of you to believe you could not continue to serve as a fair and impartial juror in this case? If so, please raise your hand. No response. All right. Yesterday, when we took our break, we were still in the midst of the prosecution's case in chief. That's where we will resume today. Mr. Allen, call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. We would call Jessica Bethel. It's my understanding Mr. Cook is doing her cross. I don't know where Mr. Cook went.
Okay.
He's gonna be right back. I will stand in for him.
We're good to go then? Okay. All right, Ms. Bethel, if you would raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony about giving this man will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Go ahead and have a seat in the witness stand. Please watch your step as you step into the stand.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may. Go ahead.
Good morning, ma'am. Will you please introduce yourself to our jury and then spell your first and last name for the record?
Good morning. My name is Jessica Bethel, Jessica Bethel.
Ms. Bethel, what do you do currently for work?
I'm currently a stay-at-home mom.
Okay. Did you at one point work for the El Paso County Sheriff's Office?
I did.
What was your last assignment with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office?
I was last assigned to the Investigations Division.
What kind of education and training allowed you to do that job?
I went through a post academy to become a sworn peace officer for the state of Colorado. And from there, I received on-the-job training and advanced my career into the Investigations Division.
Are you still a post-certified peace officer in the state of Colorado?
Yes, I am.
How long were you in law enforcement previously?
Total, including my time served as a civilian, would be 14 years.
I want to specifically get us oriented to January 2020 timeframe. Were you working at the El Paso County Sheriff's Office at that time?
Yes, I was.
What was your specific job assignment then?
I was assigned to the Majors investigation team, which consisted of detectives that investigated homicides and robberies, assaults against people.
How many different homicide cases did you get involved with investigating, if you have a round figure?
Oh, boy. I would say more than 100.
At some point, did you become involved in the Gannon Stauch disappearance case?
Yes, I did.
What was your role in that case?
I was assigned as the lead detective.
What does a lead detective do?
The lead detective coordinates the investigation mainly on a typical case and receives the leads and the information that's being collected by the other detectives. And then from there, analyzes that information and disseminates further leads, eventually leading up to either an arrest of the person or, looking at potentially a different suspect.
You said in the typical case, was there something about this particular case that made it different from those, what you would classify as a typical homicide investigation?
Yes.
What was different about it just from the initial standpoint?
Initially, this case was receiving a lot of attention in social media, and the case quickly grew to a multi-agency case.
Do you remember off the top of your head how many different agencies got involved with this investigation?
I would say close to 10, if not more.
Did that include both state Colorado agencies like the El Paso County Sheriff's Office and other agencies, also federal agencies?
Yes.
Did it also include agencies in other states?
Yes, it did.
Would that include South Carolina and Florida?
Yes.
Because of the scope of this investigation, did that change the role of a lead investigator from the sheriff's office to some degree?
It did, yes.
In what way did that happen?
Because there was so much information coming in, I assumed more of an investigative role as opposed to sitting back and collecting all of the leads at once.
Would you classify the investigation as almost an all hands on deck effort?
Absolutely.
Speaking about just generally how the course of an investigation might go in a typical case, what are things that can influence the direction a case will develop into?
Things that can influence it, I would say whether or not we have witnesses available, whether or not there's video, whether or not the suspect is willing to do an interview with us. Those types of things can influence it.
What about the potential absence or existence of physical evidence?
Absolutely, that can influence it as well heavily.
You mentioned witnesses, willingness to give statements or lack of willingness to give statements. Can that also influence the course of an investigation?
Yes, it can.
What about misleading statements from witnesses? Can that have an influence on an investigation?
Yes, it can.
Those things that I just referenced, did some of those things occur in this case?
Yes, they did.
Did some of those things have a negative influence on the investigation?
Yes, they did.
Can you, in a general sense, tell us what some of those things might have been that caused a negative influence on the investigation?
This ultimately ended up being a homicide investigation, and we did not have a standard homicide scene where there would be, evidence of the homicide and a body. That was not present in this case. Also, the suspect providing alternate leads, multiple stories of what happened, also influenced how we proceeded with the case.
When you've got that sort of dynamic going where there's different stories being presented to the investigative team, do you have to sometimes chase those down to see if there's any validity to them?
We should always chase those down. Absolutely.
Okay, and why is that?
It's just as important whenever you're trying to prove that someone did something as to prove that they didn't do something. We need to act without bias. And so if they present something to us, we need to take that just as it's a credible piece of information and vet it before we determine that it's not a good lead.
When did you first become aware of this particular investigation? Do you remember?
January 28th.
So the day after Gannon was reported missing by a 911 call and a non-emergency call
That's correct.
by the defendant in this case?
Yes.
Because the initial call was for a missing or runaway child, did that cause a investigative impetus or momentum to try to find this child that potentially had run away?
Initially, patrol handled the case just as a missing or runaway child. But then later, when it was brought to our investigations, our attention, we realized that he was 11 years old. The weather, his medical conditions, it became more important to find him soon.
Were there lots of searches conducted in the area sort of surrounding the victim's home?
Yes, I was aware of many searches being done by neighbors, some coworkers of Albert's, and also law enforcement.
Did that include vast areas of field and even reservoirs and that kind of thing?
Yes.
Did any of those searches in the immediate area turn up any clues that would lead to any investigative leads that you could pursue?
No.
You said that you first learned of this case on January 28, 2020. Did you actually reach out to the person that ended up being the defendant in this case on that particular day?
Yes, I did.
Why did you make that effort?
I wanted to contact Letecia to speak with her more about Gannon's disappearance and to meet with her at preferably at her home so that I could look at his room to look for clues as to where he may have gone, if he had left anything behind, a note or any behavioral changes.
Were you able to talk to Letecia?
I was, yes.
How would you describe her demeanor on that phone call? Was she willing to talk to you?
I would say she was hesitant at best.
Do you remember how you described it in your reports?
I don't remember verbatim, no.
Okay, do you remember if you described it as being apprehensive, that she was apprehensive to talk to you?
Yes,
Did you specifically ask her at that particular time if you could go to the house and talk to her about what had happened?
yes, I did.
Did she agree to allow you to come to the house?
No, she did not.
Did she give a reason?
Yes, she told me that there were several young children in the home, and she didn't want them overhearing what we were talking about.
What did you do then as far as trying to get her to sit down with you and give some sort of a statement to you?
I offered to meet her at a place of her choice. She ultimately asked that I meet her at Starbucks located on Fountain Mesa.
Prior to this particular phone call, had you ever met Letecia Stauch?
No,
Had you ever talked to her on the phone?
no,
Did you, in fact, then meet up with her at the Starbucks on Fountain Mesa?
I did.
Who was present for that interaction?
Letecia was present, Albert was present, my partner, Detective Mark Riley, was present, myself, and Jason Hess, Sergeant Jason Hess, also was present during part of it.
Okay. Did you actually do this contact with her and Mr. Stauch inside the Starbucks business?
Yes,
So was there a recording made of this particular interaction?
yes, there was.
Can you hear sort of the normal chatter that you would hear in a Starbucks on the recording of this?
Yes, you can.
May I approach with People's Exhibit 335?
You may.
Ms. Bethel, do you recognize People's Exhibit 335?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
It is a disc containing a field interview with Mr. Stout and Letecia.
Is this the recording of what we were just talking about, your interaction with them at Starbucks on Fountain Mesa on January 28, 2020?
It is.
Have you had a chance to listen to that recording?
I did.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of that interview?
Yes.
Now, at this time, I'd move for admission of People's 335 and request permission to publish.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, exhibit 335 will be admitted. Go ahead.
And before we publish it, the person that you had contact with that identified as Letecia Stauch, did that person have the same voice as the person you talked to on the phone just a little bit prior to this actual meeting?
Yes, she did.
Do you see that same person in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Will you please identify her for the jury, pointing out where she is sitting and what she's wearing?
She's sitting at the defendant's table. She has a pink shirt on.
With her head resting on her hand?
Yes.
I would ask that the record reflect she has identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect. Go ahead.
And then permission to publish People's 335, and it is 55 minutes and 54 seconds, Your Honor.
And is this audio only?
Yes, this is audio only.
All right, go ahead.
I wasn't sure like what you were gonna be in.
Yeah. So, do you guys want to stand out here or do you want to go in the?
We can go in.
Okay. I'm Detective Bethel, by the way.
Okay.
This is my partner, Detective Riley.
Sorry, I'm just a little. And I felt that. I guarantee you, I'm probably down there to. So.
So we were just notified about what's going on with Gannon, and so I just want to start from the beginning, to make sure that I have accurate information. So your name, ma'am?
It's TECIA. And same last name, Stauch. AUCH.
Your date of birth?
8483.
Give me the address, because I don't think that street name's right.
It's just Mandan, MANDAN.
How long have you guys lived there?
A little over a year.
And your name, sir?
First name's Eugene. Last name.
Your date of birth?
82.
All right. Where do you work, ma'am?
The beginning.
Which school?
I don't know. I don't know if I think it's for the other college.
And you, sir?
I'm in Ashland. Full time.
So tell me a little bit about Gannon. How old is he? He's 11?
Switch help it out. That's, I'm attention, and that's not true.
Right. That's what I was told too.
So we were like, everything we've been basing our mindset on, based on that.
But someone actually takes.
Yeah, technically last night he texted me. I was in Oklahoma at Fort Sill for training. I had to come home emergency. But like he texted me last night. He's like, yeah, we saw him on the camera, came in, did not look distressed. Bought some chips, left on foot. I mean, I can show you the text if you want to see it. But
Sure. When did you go to Fort Sill?
when? Yeah, I've left Sunday. I've been there one day.
What school does Gannon attend?
Grand Mountain.
Grand Mountain?
Yeah, it's in our neighborhood.
I was gonna say, I think that's a new one that opened up down there. Tell me about his friends.
Most of his friends are right there, like right around our house. Like he has boys that live right at the end of the street. He plays with them most of the time. Braden is his name.
What's Braden's last name?
I mean, I got all his parents' phone numbers and we talk to him all the time. But
If I could get their number too.
yeah,
So we have Braden.
I don't.
Braden, so they're like two families that live in the same house, but they're like related. So
Well, Connor, I know, but Connor is the Webster.
there's a Connor, but he goes to the Webster initially, like because they rezoned him because of the new school or whatever. So he went there last year.
Connor's mom has been with us the past day or two.
She works at
Yeah, she works at Webster.
So this is one of them.
Ian,
So like I said, I think it's two brothers and their families live in the same house. And they got like 3 or 4 kids.
But that's associated to Braden.
I think that's Braden's uncle. I got Braden's mom in there too. But you can get to him through this guy. This is him.
When was the last time that Gannon went to school?
It would have been last week. Right?
yeah, so Gannon went to school on Friday.
Friday, yeah.
When does he return home from school?
Came home like 3:15-ish.
Yeah, 3:05 to 3:15,
Yeah.
they changed the new time of the school. Like it used to be like 3:30 to 3:45. Because of like snow days over there.
So Braden and Connor, are those the only two friends?
I mean,
I don't even know the parents.
I'm looking.
He wants to meet them all on top of home, so he has all their numbers. I don't even, like, I know them from coming to our house. Like, I don't have it like them.
There's one more. This so Lily is really my daughter's friend, but she has a brother that's Gannon's age as well. and they kind of live like right behind us.
What is the brother's name?
Reese.
Reese.
I do know that because I hear
Reese.
Lane say it all the time.
So they live on the next street over, and sometimes they'll ride their bikes over there, but they mainly play with these boys, these Braden. And then right next door to them is a group of girls that my daughter plays with.
Okay.
I just know their mom,
Campbell.
Canberra, is the mom, and that's her number right there. 801. CAMBRA, I think.
So that's a mom of,
My daughter's friends. There's like 3 girls.
Well, one of them is the age of Gannon.
Yeah, I mean, these kids are like, they range from like first grade to like they're 6.
so these are neighbors.
Yeah, basically they live 2 or 3 houses down, but they live next door to one of those 2.
Okay.
And that's about it. That's all they really play with. Now he's got some other friends at school, but he never really goes to their house and stuff like that. The point of concern was this right here. This is where the concern started. I'll show you the text message he sent me. Okay, so this was, he stayed at home yesterday because his stomach was hurting.
So we went hiking on Sunday.
Okay, so yeah,
I would tell her that part.
Yeah, sure.
She's about to stump. And we went to Garden of Gods and we get probably about, I don't know, a few miles out, a few feet in. He's like, oh, my stomach hurts. I'm like, yeah, it's probably because you haven't been, like exercising on it. He's had this problem for a while because he gets like really bad constipation. And so his stomach was hurting all through the night. And it was, you were either on the plane,
yeah, so I was
something,
on the way
we
up.
were like texting back and forth. And I was like, should I just stay at home? Because there was all this stuff coming out of his body a little bit. And so I was like, I didn't want to go to school like that, scared because of like multiple underwear.
Okay.
And he gets really down and embarrassed about
So,
that too.
yeah, so he gets embarrassed. He's very like emotional about that type of thing because he's sad about it. So he stayed at home. Well, we went and got good dogs, some new outfits. We got 2 new puppies. So we went and got a dog some outfits at the Petco. I think it's on Coles, Nevada exit maybe. I don't know the numbers, but I know it's Nevada and the Coles right there. And so we went to Nevada, the Coles. He sat in the car because he wasn't feeling well, but I wanted to make sure he was gonna eat and I made him some Pedialyte and stuff like that. I think that's about it. Petco came back, whatever. So when we came back, he was texting you. That's where you know.
Yeah, so he had spilled a candle in the house, whatever. He was, because he felt like he was smelling bad because of his accident. He lit a candle and was playing. He spilled the candle, so he got really upset because he made a mess with that too. So
It burned a big.
So then this is where he starts texting me. I'm in Oklahoma. So he told me my tummy hurts, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just trying to stay positive, So he's worried about, Tisha said he was really worried about getting in trouble not for the accident, but for the candle thing. So then right here, I was like, we'll talk later. And he's like, do we have bath salts? And I'm like, immediately, I know what that's all about. So I'm like, what, what's going on? Where did he even hear this from? So I immediately texted her. I was like, we have a little bit for baths and stuff. So I was like, put all the stuff we use for our baths and put it away somewhere so he can't access it until we find out what's going on. And then I asked him for what.
So listen to that.
Yeah.
So with that, the day before, when he tells me this, I said, he came in and asked me, did we have any the day before, which was the Sunday. And so I gave him a bath bomb because I really didn't know bath salt. I didn't know. So I gave him a bath bomb and went to the bath. I still was clueless to the bath salts until we looked it up.
So then he tells me this. My friend said if I got some, we could play this weekend. And I told him no. Absolutely not. But we were still talking at this point. And then he was like, he went on a little bit. Then he's like, his brother has a car for a sleepover if I can come over Friday. That's kind of the end of it, though. We need some more haze. So that's where we get the idea that he may have left. Well, no, he told her he was going to play. So,
Which he does.
which they do all the time. They walk out and they're like, where are you going? Be back at such and such time. And they're always, maybe he's 10 minutes late, but nothing like this. So I don't even know who this friend is. That's the biggest concern on the surface. That's why, like she said, I always like to walk over there and meet, hey, this is blah, blah, blah.
We don't know
Phone
anyone
numbers.
with the car.
Yeah. Yeah, with
Like,
nobody
they're-
funny that has
yeah.
an older sibling that drives, none of his friends that we're aware of. So we, from these other people, we got some names of other kids on the bus that he plays with, and so we kind of hunted them down last night. We heard what they did while I was on the way back. Found one kid named Jimmy, but he wasn't, they hadn't seen him, and then they were like, well, this kid has an older brother or whatever, and they went to their house, and they're like, no, we haven't seen him. So that's when it really
His-
Really was
gave
alarming.
us the information that Jimmy had an older sibling. So of course, we all went,
I
you
mean,
know.
we think it was
Around.
putting people together. You know.
So then Jimmy's dad answers the door and they show the picture to Jimmy Connor's mom, with the one with my daughter. She's a 17-year-old. So he's like, yeah, I think I know that kid. And then they were like, do you know Jimmy? And the guy was like, yeah, that's my son. And then he was like, I'm sorry to tell you guys, but we don't have a older child that drives. So I don't know if she said Jimmy was the oldest, but whatever it was, Dad said there was no older boy that was in their home that drove. But it was, like he said, pieces were coming in from different kids trying to give us information and names.
See, the big deal here is, it's not like, and I know kids, you know, they get influences, but he's a homebody. I mean, I'm like the same way. He would rather be at home playing his little Nintendo or, you know, watching cartoons. You know, sometimes I gotta make him go ride his bike, that kind of thing. So he's not one just to walk off. And, you know, he's had times where he's been a little embarrassed about his stomach problem, but never anything to drive him to something like that. So that's why, I mean, I had to come to grips because I'm pretty convinced that something bad. We kind of, between ourselves, kind of broke it down to, we either feel like he's at a house where some of this drug stuff is going on. They convince, you know, that they convince.
Has anybody called the school yet?
Yeah.
So the principal called this morning.
I back up. I emailed the teacher first. I'm like, can you give us any information? I knew she couldn't, but I wanted to start with that dialogue. So can you give us any information about Anna's friends or anything? She's like, no, but I can go to the administration. So, principal, somebody reached out last night. Her principal said he waited up front just to make sure he didn't come to school today, side or whatever. And an announcement is that they have information, want to help Gannon. And,
They also just sent an email on the do not reply. The district email just came to us where the principal said he's sending out all families.
okay, so yeah, so they're doing their due diligence.
So I just came to us with that.
What kind of social media accounts does he have?
I don't even let him get online with these things. I have.
Does he have a phone? Obviously, he has a
Yeah,
phone that
it's
he's
in the
texting.
truck, but like, we check through that. I check the phone logs on my TNT account, and we hadn't texted anybody other than the one friend.
So we have the capability to do a download on the phone and potentially see things that are deleted that you and I wouldn't see immediately. It would be like in cache data or whatever. Would you be willing to let us look at his phone,
Yeah.
do that download, see, just to make sure that he didn't delete something that we need to look at? Okay. So it's an iPhone?
Yes. You want me to grab that?
You need to, need to take it with you.
Yeah, that would be great if we could.
I know we'll get to that, but I brought this because some of my buddies at work were like, you can track, Nintendo has a way to protect if the device is hooked to the internet somewhere.
Okay.
So maybe he's somewhere and play this game on their Wi-Fi or something.
Is the Nintendo Switch missing?
Yeah, he had it with him. So like he was going to play games. That's what obviously he was going to play games with his buddy or something.
What's the serial number on that?
That's going to be right here if I'm not mistaken. Everything should be in here. I think that's it.
So does he, other than the stomach issues, does he have any other ailments, disabilities?
He just he takes ADHD medicine, but That's never really caused him a problem other than, I mean, he makes straight A's. He actually got his first B this past time, so.
That's his phone there.
Yeah, that's 292.
2922.
Yeah, let me give you this phone number. And I don't know if you have to subpoena the information or not, but so my friend looked this up and found, it said that, police can subpoena connection location for the switch, and that's the phone. And he found something on the internet that said that, so it's at least worth looking into, I think.
Yeah, we've got a database of stuff that we work with, so
Yeah.
we'll be able to find a contact
Okay.
if that service exists with them. Any,
Show you, can I show you something?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you'll find it out, but I was just not sure about the history.
Oh, yeah, he had looked up only one, something that was.
Oh, that's, where's the history?
are there any other children in the home?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
You mentioned a 17-year-old. So, biologically both of yours?
No, so I have Gannon and my 8-year-old daughter. And their mom is on the way now, so she's gonna be here tonight. But,
What is sister's name?
Lena, Laina.
What's her date of birth?
12212.
And you have custody of both of them?
I do.
What is
Well,
mom's name?
technically shared, but they live with me and go to our seniors in summer. So we call it shared, but I really have this. Mom's name is Landon, Landens.
Do you know her last name?
Hyatt, Hiott.
Date of birth?
411?
4/11/85. And we have one other child in the home as well, her biological daughter.
Okay, what is mom's phone number?
Phone number?
Yep. And you said it's your biological daughter?
Harley. H-U-N-T, no, Harley.
Oh, Harley.
Yes, sir.
What's Harley's date of birth?
5102.
You mentioned younger children in the home.
Well, mainly I was meeting Lena because here's what happened. One of the people called this morning and she was sleeping and heard a lot of conversations and she's been like just crying and things like that. So, yeah, and she already has like, I don't know, preconditioner with anxiety, but she gets very,
It's worked up.
yeah, worked up easily. So she's having a hard time because like the National Guard came earlier, so many people have been coming, so it's a lot.
So like you said, I guess the search history had been deleted, but like that one right there, Monday afternoon. I don't know, I don't see a time on that, so I don't know when that happened, but I'm sure that can be found. But it says, can my parent find my cell phone if it's off? So I don't know if he intended to take the phone.
What is this? Where does FGTEV live?
So this FGTV, some little kids show that they watch, what the kids watch, and they got
Like famous YouTubers.
it's like a YouTube thing that's going on. So but he left the phone.
Is he talking to any girls?
No, actually, I joked with him about that, but
He had a puberty class and he was like,
Yeah.
ooh, I don't want to do like, and
yeah, they just had a little puberty class in school, so he's still in the ooh phase. Yeah, go ahead.
now if you see the messages that say to mommy in the last day, that's me talking to his mom. Because I don't give her my.
To see if you get any searchable stuff on the maps. So he searched for 10315 declaration. How's that, you guys?
Declaration is probably
Somewhere up on-
somewhere, it's probably somewhere.
It's old.
Yeah, it's probably,
Old Glory.
yeah, it's probably something that we were, it could have been things that people.
What date was that?
10315 Declaration Drive.
When was that? So
It says Classic Homes, Lorson Ranch.
Yeah, I mean, that's our neighborhood.
Right.
Declaration.
I didn't look for any declaration.
Bethany was on charge, so.
Yeah.
Cursor or whatever. But we were driving around over there and somebody said that they saw a camera
That was the,
on the old Rory.
address on there.
Wow, I didn't think about looking at that. But this, how does it make any sense? Because he went the other direction.
Three. I feel like that's someone's address.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the people. Is it recently? Because like,
So this is how it was, when I pulled up his map.
I don't have his cell
You know, where-
phone, but
When I just that listed, that address. So when I click on it, I don't know.
if you just put Lorson Ranch, so good, is that the random address for that office? That's an address of declaration. Sometime.
Bring up his map to see, look for hours. I'll send the car down to that. We'll figure out what that is. I know it's right there, goes off to the south. So it's gonna drive by their house.
But it's kind of farther towards the school than our house, toward that backside.
Yeah.
We're up right at the front. That first section.
What model iPhone is that?
That's like a 6. Yeah.
Search.
That comes up with Zillow.
They're over here.
So this here is, it's a computer for but we're gonna use cell phone. So basically, what the cell phone waivers would say, is that we're gonna dump this phone with your permission. You have the constitutional right not to have it searched without having a warrant. I think that at this point, time would be good, started.
Yes.
But everything that's on that, to include all deleted items, everything, it just makes a copy of everything. And then we'll get it back to you and we'll analyze the copy that we take from it. Again, it's, you're providing consent. I can't force you into doing it. And I would have to obtain a search warrant, if you didn't consent.
28.
I believe so, yep.
28.
So we'll keep the phone and start searching for that, searching through that. Where might he go other than, does he have any other relatives in the area?
No,
No relatives in the area.
it's just us and those few friends. Yeah, I don't know. I don't recognize it.
We're listening to the car over there.
Okay.
Figure out why it's in the car. Did you ask about the bath salt now, the address?
Yeah, so we don't know just the friend. We don't know who the friend is
I can show you all it said.
in that text.
He said to me was bath salts. Like, do we have any?
You wanted to take him to a friend's house?
Yeah, let me pull it up so I don't get it wrong. Huh?
I was trying to think, like,
Oh, thank you.
I got another water coming for you guys.
Thank you so much. So you can just read through it. It starts, I was in Oklahoma, it starts right there, so you can just scroll down. So you get this details we did with him. He's been having some stomach problems, so that's when he talks about his tummy. He had made a little accident, dropped a candle, so he's upset about that. But then you can read what's part about the bath salts. And in context with that, at the same time, as soon as you say bath salts, I got on the phone with her and was like, hey, yeah, because we do have someone to take, legit take baths with and stuff.
Yeah.
That's like, get it all, hide it, put it away,
And I told him that
figure out what's going on.
he did ask me the day before,
Yeah.
and I gave him, because I didn't.
So like, see, it's very vague. There's no like friend's name or where they live or anything. Because the intent was to have that conversation face to face or whatever.
I'm sorry, when did you say you went to Fort Hill?
I left Sunday morning. Well, actually, I went Sunday night because my mom flew out Saturday night. My flight was Sunday morning, and then of course, got there Sunday. That one day of class, and then this all happened Monday night. So, which was yesterday. I came back and
What time did you guys go to Petco?
I don't know, I would probably look through what time we set the alarm.
Okay.
that was Sunday, right?
No, Sunday was, we went hiking Sunday.
Didn't go to Petco Sunday.
No, we went,
Petco Monday.
yeah, because it was just me again and again on the car because the stomach.
Okay.
Because Lena went with us hiking, but Lena was. What's that date? So.
Tell you what, yesterday was 27. So we're at that address. You said you're sending a card to the house?
The only thing I can think of though, if that was the person that we took the jingle basket to,
How would you use this phone?
Gannon was with me. So if it ends up being the person with like the neighborhoods do the jingle basket, that's the only thing, cause it was somebody in Lorson Ranch. So you go like with people, but that would have been December. So I don't know what they got. I don't know if that's their address. I'm just saying that.
Any clothes missing?
Except for.
I mean, like I said, like literally from what she explained, everything was consistent with, I'm going to play with my friends. So it was like, whatever clothes he had on, we make him put his play shoes on. We got nice shoes to play shoes. He had his play shoes on. So, I mean, it was pretty obvious that his intent was like, I'm not leaving, but I'm going to play. And I'm, doing everything I'm supposed to do. And she let him take his switch. I mean, don't really ever do that, so. It's in.
When was the last time he talked to his mom, his biological mother?
For Sunday? He talks to her, right? They talk almost, I'd say 5 times a week. I know he talked to her Friday and Saturday because my mom was here and, he was on the phone first. So.
Sorry, there's just a lot of 27 numbers.
Bio mom's coming in from.
Yeah, she's on the way now. I think she just got on the plane, South Carolina. Yeah, that's where we're all originally from, South Carolina, but I'm right here for the military. So, I mean, not to add any confusion to it, but like the mom's married to a guy that's got a lot of trouble with the law. That was one of my first instincts when it was like, when the come and go thing came up and they said that he walked in all nonchalant, like everything was normal. It was like the dude was here or something, because he's got a lot of trouble like that in his background. So I was like, it came to my mind. It's worth putting down, but I mean, I don't know if it's anything legit.
Does she have your address?
Yeah, she does.
I know it says I disarmed the panel at Monday, January 27th at 2:29. So that's when we would have, and I set the back door to close. Because I would have like let the dogs out back then. So that's when you got home? Came home. I'm still scrolling up. I just didn't want to have to go back. And then, let's see, it says basement motion. I might have didn't set, I had to set the alarm. It's not showing when I set the alarm, but it says, living room and basement motion at 10:10 a.m. Oh, here it is, armed by master right here. So Monday, January 27th, I armed the alarm at 10:05 a.m.
10:05, you guys went?
That's what time I armed it, so I'm assuming, yeah, because we had motion that morning because we were there,
Which alarm do you use?
ADT.
What did you participated in bingo?
But they do these little basket things where like they would like a group on Facebook or wherever, of like say 10 women or 10 families, just set a dollar amount. It's like, okay, you bring a basket of stuff to their house.
Okay.
So it's like a Secret Santa, I don't know, something like that, but for the neighborhood.
I could either look on the lady who sends it. If you want to see if that's the address she sent.
It doesn't matter, we're gonna send it to
Okay.
anyway.
Okay.
So we'll make contact,
Okay,
verify.
okay.
It's weird to even have that address on.
Yeah.
Cause that, I mean, if that's like recent, or I know we
I
don't.
don't have a way to see when it was searched. I can just see what the address is, the only address on there.
Right, right.
Has he ever left before?
So, I tell you, I mean, I know every parent says this, but he's a pretty straight up kid. And, if ever he does wrong, like the only thing he ever sneaks is, playing his games if he's grounded or something. That's it. I mean, other than that, he does his chores. I mean, he makes straight A's, kind-hearted. I mean, he fusses with his sister, but
And to add to that, I know if you're okay with saying that the counselor has said every.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because of, so his mom and the situation with her husband, like she basically has lost everything. Doesn't have a place to live, gone through a lot, been on drugs and stuff. So I got custody of them. It's been pretty hard, for any kid. And, I went through some of that as a kid. So I was like, let's get them counseling just to be, certain there's nothing that they're dealing with and they know it's okay to talk. So they go like once a month on base. And, I always ask at the end of the session, hey, is there anything alarming that you brought up or anything I need to know about? And
Yeah, she always says that.
for him, it's nothing, that he's just open and, he's going through normal emotions of, loving mom and loving dad and stuff like that, but nothing like, hey, you need to.
Does he go on Carson?
Yes.
And what's his counselor's name?
Dr. Burtek, I have her number.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Looking through this phone and listening to you, it's exactly like looking through a 12-year-old's phone and talking to him. I mean, exactly. He communicates over a couple of game chats. He plays a game on, He played a computer game.
This is it right here. And I refuse, unless he's done it behind my back. I know he gets on YouTube and watches some stuff, but I have absolutely said no online gaming. So unless he's got on there and figured it out, then
So not necessarily communicating through the game. We have apps and stuff. If you can talk back and forth with your
maybe
while you game and stuff, and he likes to use those instead of text messaging. And you for different apps. I was looking to see if I recognize any of the ones. Our son did before.
yeah.
So I don't recognize any of them on there from what he uses.
Yeah, and usually, once again, he's pretty innocent by telling us, or at least hinting at things. And he's never even like said, oh, I learned this from this. How he learns is he researches like YouTube and stuff.
I can see the way he was talking to you in his text messages about he's in trouble, if he still plays
Right.
and stuff like that.
But I did block him from the Wi-Fi because he was using TikTok. He had up something about some choking game.
Yes, I noticed and, paying attention to, what the news and all that, I banned them from TikTok and said remove it from all your devices because of the bad. I'm sure there's good stuff, but that stuff that encourages those challenges or whatever going
When was that?
So-
within the past week.
Yeah, I took him off, but like he was on the Xfinity Squad or.
Yeah,
And shut it
Yeah.
to myself.
yeah, you did
So
that.
I did that because I look over and it was some people were choking and quarters. I don't know what it's like. I guess to get high,
This is counseling.
like you choke yourself or something. And so he was laughing, but I think he saw it as just people being silly. I don't think he was realizing like
How serious it
how
was?
serious that was. So I told him a story of which was a true story. He was playing a quarter game and it went down his throat. And he had to be rushed to the hospital, blah, 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 blah. And so then he kind of looked at me like, like it was serious. So I didn't think anything else about it. Didn't think he was going to do anything like that. I just thought he thought it was funny.
To see, the kid is so like tenderhearted, like I know and kids are obviously influenced, we know that, but he would never like smoking or anything like that because his mom's it's done, got into that step since we split up, and stepdad as well, and then, and his grandma, his mom's mom smokes real bad. And so he knows that that causes, you know, bad stuff.
But then the thing was in his book bag.
What was in his book bag?
So she found, after the bath
Harley
salts,
found it.
after the bath salts, I said, go check his book bag, just in case. Initially, she found nothing, but then after he disappeared, they went back and,
No, I didn't let her go look at it initially.
oh, I thought you looked at it.
No, you asked me to go look at it, but I was doing
Okay.
other things.
So
I
they
sent
found-
Harley-
Found a 2-pack of those little Swisher Sweets.
Yeah, I sent
So-
Harley to go look at it.
I don't know, somebody had to give him those
When did you find those?
last night.
Yeah, so I sent Harley to go do it. So Harley was like pulling out the book bag stuff, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't see anything." And then she had a folder in her hand that dropped that folder, so she immediately text out. But it didn't look like anything was used.
That's family. That was.
There's kids that name great.
Braden and Connor.
Connor, not as much, because,
Have we been to their house?
I don't know, did they talk to the police last night?
Connor's mom did.
Connor's mom was there, but, I was texting the other parents, because they were out in the neighborhood looking.
What, Brady's parents wanted it?
Yeah, out in the neighborhood looking around, yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked to Brady's parents.
I'm not sure if y'all talked to Braden.
I know I know they talked to Braden's mom, because she was at a.
Okay, all right, there you go.
I don't know that you talked to Connor's mom, but I do know she was there at the time everyone was there.
What is the Rubicon Drive address?
Rubicon Drive, actually?
So Lily and,
Is that,
like the friends that live on that address? Okay.
9865 Rubicon Drive.
I don't know the number, but the Lily and Reese I spoke about earlier, they live on Rubicon, which I think is the street right behind us. Is that Rubicon?
Yeah, Rubicon's behind us, but I don't know anybody. I thought Gap Home was behind us.
Okay, hold on, let me look at it.
What is it again?
9865 Rubicon Drive.
What is this? Something. We
That was the usual hangout, yeah.
Oh, okay. Who gave you this?
It was listed in the report. You guys gave it to.
Yeah, I didn't give anybody no.
So there was information that you wanted to go to a party with the bath salts. That was a sleepover. Is that right?
No, he said I want to go to a friend's house. They said bring bath salts and my older brother.
Yeah.
That's piecing it all together, but in his terms, that's.
Yeah, but I didn't ever say anything
But,
about it.
so this Rubicon, so we live on Mandan right here. That Rubicon would be those boys, that, Braden's family right here. I'm sure that's,
Okay, so that's Brady's house.
I would assume that because they don't know anybody else in Rubicon.
Yeah, I wouldn't have given
And
you.
Lily and Reese,
Because I don't even know.
well, I don't know, Rubicon goes around here, so unless he was going somewhere right there, I don't know, but the boys do live there, Rubicon. Lily and Reese live on Capitol.
So we also have a deputy back over at the Cummingville.
Okay.
So we asked them to send us the videos. They can't do it in the store. They have to do it in the corporate office. It's a wireless system or whatever, if you're cloud, I can send it to the deputies. We're going back over to review that.
It's Linda Reese. Or Reese Linda.
Oh, at that, Declaration House? I mean, to know if there's any kids there, we'd have to go through the school probably.
That's what they're doing now. They're going down to see if anybody home, they have any kids, it's on tape.
Okay.
And then, why he would have searched that address, et cetera, and start from there. So
Okay.
they're headed down there to do that now. So Deputy over, taking a look at the video over there. Did you talk to Deputy Donatello yesterday?
Would this been late last night?
No, it would have been probably before 4 p.m.
I'm trying to, the only deputy I spoke with that I remember, one called me because we were getting overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I don't know who I spoke with. They were at the house though, right?
There's a lot.
I think they were at the house and then, Donahue,
Donatello, yeah.
Sean Donahue.
Now, Chris Donatello,
This is El Paso County? Yes. Deputy Sean Donahue, I think is the one I talked to because he said
The recording.
okay.
he said he would text me the case number. And then he said that we got come and go footage. So I texted him back. Yeah, I mean, you can read through it. if you want.
So the deputy that went to the coming show, the clerk said, oh yeah, he was video. The deputy reviewed the video, and he does not do video.
Who doesn't watch?
I don't know, he saw it
The one viewed today or last night?
last night. He's going back again today
But see, Donahue said basically that it said there was nothing out of the ordinary. He didn't seem under duress. He left on foot. He only purchased a bag of chips. And I continued to ask him questions about.
First of all, I think that came from the clerk. And the clerk said, yeah, it's him. But the deputy went and knew the video. The kid that's in the video buying the chips,
Yeah.
he doesn't think it's your son.
Okay.
But he's over there back now. And we can go there and look at it, but we can't get a copy of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have the hero.
I mean, I was over there when, I don't know who was over there at like 11:30. There was another deputy over there around.
That would not have been the guys over there.
Yeah, so we were driving around, I saw a squad car or whatever there, I pulled in and I said, hey, can I look at the footage? He said, I don't have permission for that. But he said, I've looked over an hour and a half. I don't see description of your son or something that's close to it.
What kind of iCloud sign in? Sorry.
Let's text real quick, and it's in my note. I think it's the kid's stop, isn't it?
I'll need a username and password.
Yeah, I got it in my phone.
Do you see anything there report? Video? I saw a screenshot on the phone of a kid on a sidewalk or something like that. You guys, camera?
Somebody sent that.
So there's been like 100 videos, photos that I went through. And I know that a couple of them were what appears to be him because it's the same outfit, the same, looks like him, there were people scrolled in on them. So we had like 400 comments to go through.
So
That
that should be the iCloud
we sent.
username and password for his phone.
Wasn't really when we write them back.
Then,
Or whatever, so yeah.
yeah, you can write all that. And that's the Gmail username and password tied to
So
that.
yeah,
Do you care if I just take a picture of that?
Hey, how about I screenshot it and send it to you? How about that?
That's
felt like it was on Gatlin. One of them I sent to my cousin, I just don't remember where this one. Gatlin's behind us.
Always a Kaplan.
Oh, yeah, no, Gatlin.
That's way up in the city.
Message. All right, what's your number?
719
Okay.
208
Okay.
1406.
So, you guys stop one?
And I just left that's my daughter's iCloud too. Not that it'll matter, but just in case, I just left that one on there for you.
You're pretty sure that's right?
Yeah, okay. But I mean,
So where was this one taken at what time?
I need to look back. Because that just started the same thing there.
Can I give you a number? I can send a picture to you. I'm gonna send it to the guy that's over looking at video. 719.
So.
No.
5657. And that one was somewhere over by your house?
Yeah, what video here, we didn't.
You can be over the come and go.
Oh, I didn't. Safeway, I was like, I don't really think Safeway was on Safeway.
So I did see he has a whole bunch of emails for Safeway.
Well, this is why, this is why. So we'll all be in there, and they only let you do the just for you, keep on clipping. So everybody in the house with phones has to get it, so she.
Scam the system.
So that's
Well,
why.
our son gets random emails from.
You'll notice
Like,
pink stickers on Wednesday.
My email box.
Yeah,
That's your point.
that's why it's.
So let's all really-
That's all, that's. And then I'll get in there and be like, what number am I putting in and try them all.
Has anybody searched the guy's house yet?
Yeah, so that was the first thing they did, was, it was about 6 people, showed up. And, because we waited, about 4 hours. And the first thing they do, they come in, they just were like, hey, we need to get your ID. Maybe you have to run in like, I guess like search thing and stuff like that. And then they said, well, typically, or sometimes kids can like hide, and someone told me something about it's could be in the dryer and not realize that they could breathe, like different places. So the guy went through every room and all the officers and everybody else like stood this way. And he did like flashlights and checked all the spots to make sure he wasn't like hiding, because at this point, it had already been so long, he doesn't ever come in to hide. He might do like a play, like jump out behind the thing, but not like anything specific. Yeah, so he went in like all of our closets, we like moved stuff, everybody was silent. Then we looked at the alarm to see like if there was any motion that might have been in any direction that we, like we didn't know. And so I didn't do it, he did it. We spent a while doing that, going over certain things. Like they walked me around, they were like, does he always leave this here? The clothes that were laid out, because we laid it, when he goes out of town and it's just me there, I try to lay out all the clothes, and I do it for him too if I'm somewhere, so they can just get up and find their clothes. So they were like, all these clothes are laid out. And I was like, yeah, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Cause he's got like 2 beds. So he used to see other bed is like to lay out all his stuff. So they walk through, he just asks them simple questions. Would he normally do this? Would he normally do that?
Working on the Nintendo right now. Does he have a gamer ID on that Switch?
Yeah, you don't remember the Did it come through on his phone?
Can I see this phone? It might be.
Absolutely. Yeah, he had one, and then when we got the new system, we just created a different password for it.
When he goes to play, I know you had said that you have to like basically kick him out the door to go ride his bike event, but when he does play outside, where does he go?
Goes to Braden's house.
Well, you don't have to kick him outside if he's not on his medicine. If he's not on his medicine, he's hyper, he'll go to. But if he's on his medicine, it's more like till it wears off, it's 5 minutes for ADHD. So until it wears off, it might be like I don't want to play, like it's zombie mode at first. So when it wears off, like if it's the weekend and we give it to him because we have to go to church, he would not go outside on a Sunday because it's still in the system at church. But he didn't take it because he didn't take it Saturday. He didn't take it because we went hiking, because we did a 6-mile hike. He didn't take it Sunday. I'm sorry, that was Sunday. He didn't take it Saturday, he didn't take it Sunday, and he didn't take it Monday, which caused stomach problems. So he was off his medicine. I don't even think he ever done it.
They said that the manager of the store says it knows the kid. He comes in cooking with the dad. So that's not us, right? Which we constantly commonly have. Someone sees something and go, oh yeah, that's a kid I see. So they said that it's kids in their team. They're saying it's him, but he knows him. He comes in all the time to
Do like put
So
it's in
that's
the.
like we don't show back on, bro. Definitely not enough for clerks to know. No, I don't.
It's, all this says is this. I don't know if that's,
We go get gas over here.
that's always there. Purchase, so sometimes.
And the Gmail account associated.
I think.
Should be the.
I don't think he was last week.
Sounds like
So I don't need to be last year. The guy that Brister reported me there saw him, that not work. He's saying, yeah, I know. I'm like, this guy comes here all the time. Obviously, that's not your guy.
Right, yeah, no, I don't think it's ever, I might have been
So
one
the
time.
deputy was looking, the deputy did not think it was him. He's going back to look to see if this chick that he sees in the store that he buys the chip with, gets back into the car. I don't think that's gonna be. I don't think he made it up. It is something. Could be wrong, but it does not look like that to me based on.
Did you get what you needed?
Yes.
I didn't think.
I have a lieutenant and a deputy going down to that, right now, but we're going down and talk to them. Talking to a couple deputies, so we're on foot this morning,
Okay.
checking the golf course.
Yeah, because we saw him put the light on and we thought like there was people out there, but they were doing like another call, so he like kind of chased them down.
No, it was actually for you.
Oh.
They didn't know what they were gonna find and whatnot.
Yeah.
They didn't want to get people all riled up. They were checking on it. There was some noise coming from their shed. I think it was that golf course area.
Oh.
So they went in and started.
Okay.
You see what the pushed down.
Right.
He was not in it. But I want you to know, that wasn't him looking, but it was for. Following.
Because they were just like, we were going to talk to somebody and we both drove off and was like, we both drove, make sure it's not the car. We both drove off and like, we're going in the woods to talk to people. Because we thought like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever, and drove on.
So they were going into that, I mean, because there's an abandoned shed or something back there. That they went in there, fenced in, you can tell people going there, messing around. They were going there looking for it.
Okay, thank you. I mean, like, I'm glad they weren't like saying that, because soon it would have been like,
They just didn't want to,
right, right.
yeah, you got a tip, you might be over here. and,
Yeah,
You know, 30
exactly.
people are running toward the shed.
Exactly.
You guys can work with. I would like to talk to, I'd like to talk to your students out there in every garden. You know what I mean? They might know where this party is supposed to be.
What color is Braden's house?
I want to talk to their parents. I want to talk to.
Yeah, I don't handle anything. I don't even know. I think it's like 10. I don't even, I've never even spoken to their parents. So now,
Would your husband know?
yeah, I think it's like 10.
That's,
I mean, I've drove by it. I just don't.
Eugene,
They need to ask.
Oh, yeah.
what color is Braden's house?
I told her I didn't know.
Is it on your street?
So come in our neighborhood, our house is like third from the end, something like that. T intersection, dead end right here. There's Canberra, where I referenced, and then Braden. Basically, you go straight to their house from the intersection.
So this is,
This is us. That's Mandan, Rubicon, right? Rubicon.
Find out about that declaration house. If nobody's there, we'll start doing a back search.
Braden and then Canberra.
And go from there.
We'll be out there.
All right.
you said,
Canberra, which she's in there somewhere. And
where's
this is-
Connor at?
Connor, they live over,
Like Academy or something.
somewhere, yeah, way over up Academy. It's just his mom teaches at that Webster school or works there, so that he goes to that.
They just,
Connor's mom's number.
did you give her that?
No, we got sidetracked
She
on
just actually,
15 other things.
Yeah.
sorry.
I don't
So
have a
Braden is
secret.
on Rubicon.
Goes by Gannon.
Go back in.
Gannon, yeah.
Connor's gone.
Yeah.
You guys let me know when you be down that section.
Okay, we'll do.
Well, we're doing everything we can for you right now. Thank you so much. You guys up, we got your number. Make sure you're charged, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That'll work.
And so this is school. It's down here, Grand Mountain. Just to the reference. And what is it? What is it, Fontaine? Fontaine was the main drag coming in.
Right.
Mark Shuffle.
Yep. I do know that part.
We're the first term when you come in. So anyways.
Okay, perfect. So what I think we're gonna do is we're gonna, do you have a card on you? I'll have mine in the car. We're gonna head down to talk to see if we can get a hold of Braden. See what time.
That's right. Right?
Well,
I'm not sure.
might be at school. We may, and he goes to Grand Mountain.
Yeah, they all, the whole neighborhood does now.
Except Connor.
Okay,
Well, Connor's, because he's way over
Yeah.
here somewhere. I'll just have him about to sit. Braden does.
we're gonna try and talk to Braden. We're gonna get a dump on the phone. Sergeant Hess, the guy that was sitting here, he's also working on things in the area too with other patrols. He's sort of like the lead for in the field. We're gonna see what information we can gather from there. And I will inform you guys as soon as I can with what we find. If something comes up, no matter how minute, please call us, okay? That 208 number that you texted, that's my direct stuff. So, and I think I called you from it, so you should have it in your phone. So, yeah, hit me up, let me know what's going on. If I don't answer immediately, send me a text too.
Okay.
Okay? All right, guys.
That's a good place for a break. Ladies and gentlemen, we will take our morning break. If I can have everyone back in the jury room at, say, 10:40, we should be able to start on time at that point. All rise for the jury, please. Thank you. You may all be seated. Record should reflect the jury has left the courtroom. Ms. Bethel, I want to apologize to you. I didn't realize that the video was, or the audio was going to be that long. I would have offered you a seat in the gallery as we have other witnesses, because that witness chair is not the most comfortable to be sitting there for 55 minutes and 12 seconds listening to something. So next time we'll do a better job about that. So what are we doing next?
Just continuing with her. There will be another video here shortly that is much shorter. Let's see. 3 minutes and 43 seconds will be coming up here in just a little bit. And then we'll get into the really long one, which is 4 hours and 19 minutes.
Okay. So we'll probably get about a little less than half of that done before lunch.
Hopefully, yeah.
Just find a good breaking point for that, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, the court will be in recess. Ms. Bethel, you can go ahead and step down. Thank you, ma'am. is a pain, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
And
just,
there's not a different setting, is there?
no. And it's, yeah, proud of it, but it's easy, but
You just got to remember to do it because
Yeah.
it would be disastrous otherwise.
It's gonna be a disaster.
It just is, that camera's view, when it automatically reboots up and starts again, every time we start it, it has the whole jury box.
Oh,
And so you have to zoom it in to cut out Ms. Gratiano, so that we know that we're not getting the jury box. And because there's a juror that sits right behind her too, so you can't. All rise for the jury, please. Thank you. May all be seated. Record should reflect the jury have returned to the courtroom. Court will recall 20 CR 1358, People versus Letecia Stauch. Mr. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. So after we had a chance to watch that initial conversation that you had, I guess the initial recorded conversation that you had with the defendant, I want to clear up some things that we hear in there. In your initial question and answers prior to us getting into what actually watching the video, you mentioned that there were concerns about any health issues. Did some of that come out in this particular recording?
Yes, it did.
Was that the ADHD and the bleeding from the rectum report?
Yes.
There was reference of a Petco on North Nevada that the defendant indicated she had visited. Is that the area up at University Village dominated sort of by that Costco that's in that shopping center?
Yes, it is.
There was reference to a Nintendo Switch and trying to track that. During the investigation, did you learn whether you could or could not do any tracking on the Nintendo Switch?
We could not track the switch.
Did you learn later that the Switch was actually found in the house?
I did.
There's lots of discussion in that video, or that recording, I should say, about things that required investigative resources. Do you remember hearing those things?
Yes.
Does that include going to different residences, like that? I think it's 10350 Declaration Drive, to look for potentially clues that would lead to discovery of where Gannon might be?
Yes.
In your experience as a seasoned homicide investigator and detective, is time an important element in an investigation?
Yes, it is.
Is the fact that resources are being expended to chase down potentially a runaway child as opposed to a homicide investigation, did that waste valuable time in the investigation?
Yes.
And was that wasting of resources a direct result of misdirection from the defendant?
It is.
During your course of conversation with the defendant at that Starbucks on January 28th, is this essentially the fourth time at least that she's given this story that Gannon has run away? Meaning there's the 911 call, the call for service, reporting it to Al, and then now reporting it to you in this recorded phone call.
Yes.
So almost a quadrupling down of that runaway story.
Yes.
What was her demeanor like? I guess because we can only hear what is being said. What were her outward demeanor expressions like? Were they normal?
She was calm and collected.
Did she ever change personalities while you were with her during this recorded interaction?
No, she did not.
Was her personality consistent throughout that interaction?
Yes, it was.
And then there was reference to, by the defendant, there was reference to ADT data to show what time she had returned from doing the run to Petco. Do you remember that?
Yes,
Did you also, during this investigation, become aware of neighborhood ring or doorbell cameras that caught that action as well?
yes,
That confirmed sort of that timeline?
yes,
Was it consistent during your course of this investigation that there would be some kernel that could be confirmed, a kernel of truth that could be confirmed from the defendant wrapped around things that were unconfirmable or turned out to be totally false?
yes,
Some point later that particular day, 3:45 p.m., did you reach out to the defendant again by phone to request particular items?
I did.
What were those items?
I requested that she bring a toothbrush and or hairbrush with her of Gannon's
What was the purpose for that?
to collect for DNA purposes to develop a DNA profile.
Is that a common thing to do in a missing child case like this?
Yes,
Why is that?
because if the child is located and is deceased, we're able to identify them.
By comparing the DNA from the body to the DNA profile that you might gather from toothbrush or a hairbrush?
Yes,
Were you making efforts to get the defendant down to the sheriff's office to sit for a formal interview?
yes,
While that was happening, did Al Stauch, Gannon's father, show up at the sheriff's office and actually sit for an interview?
yes, he did.
Was that at about 4:30 p.m. on January 28th?
Yes,
Did you send a text to the defendant asking her to come down at roughly the same time?
I did.
Did she come down?
No, she did not.
Did she even respond to your text message?
I don't believe she responded initially, no.
Okay. Later that evening at about 6 p.m., did you get a call from the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And what was the call? Was it to your cell phone?
Yes,
Does the sheriff's office have areas in the building that make cell phone service difficult?
yes, they do.
Did you experience that with this particular phone call?
Yes, I did.
So what did you do in response to that?
Because I wasn't able to completely talk to Letecia on the phone, I hung up with her and I called from a landline located within the sheriff's office.
Did you get a better connection on that?
I did.
Was that particular phone call recorded?
No, it was not.
Do you remember what she told you or what the discussion was during that phone call?
She was discussing her relationship with Gannon and Lena. She told me about how her parenting and Al's parenting was separate, that they never formally adopted each other's children, that she wasn't allowed to make parenting decisions for Gannon or Lena, and Al was not allowed to make parenting decisions for Harley.
Okay. And then did she tell you during this particular phone call the last time that she actually saw Gannon, at least the way that she's reporting it?
She did. She mentioned that she saw him, I believe it was between 3:15 and 4, and she had mentioned that there was a TV show on that she had liked to watch. And I asked her what that TV show was, and she could not tell me the name of the TV show.
Did she describe the clothing that Gannon was last seen wearing by her?
Yes, she did.
What was that?
She said it was a blue shirt, blue pants, and his tennis shoes.
Did she also mention a blue hoodie?
Yes.
Did you ask her during this phone call if she would come down and talk with you at the sheriff's office?
Yes.
Did she accept that invitation or did she decline it?
She declined.
Did she give you a reason why she was declining it?
She said that her stomach was bothering her and she was having to make multiple stops at different Walgreens to use the restroom.
Okay. Later on at about 7:03 p.m., did you get another call from the defendant?
I did.
What was that phone call about?
She was FaceTiming me and she was mad because her daughter was left alone with a bunch of men in the home, she claimed. At that time, the sheriff's office was at the home to get Lena at Al's request.
So I think that's later on, when she's asking about that. Would that potentially have been at 11:52 PM, that particular call? A FaceTime call where she's upset about and needing Al to come home?
That could have been, yes.
Okay. I guess, after that 7:03 call, did you get another call from Al in which he was upset?
Yes, I did.
What was that all about?
Al called me and he was sobbing. I could tell that he was upset. And he told me that he didn't tell us everything. He had previously done an interview with my partner, Mark Riley. And he explained that Letecia had rented a vehicle from the airport when she picked him up, and that he did not disclose that to us.
Did he also talk about trying to find her normal vehicle, the black Tiguan?
Yes,
Was he able to find it?
he was not, no.
Was that causing him distress, at least as he's relaying it to you?
Yes,
Did that lead to him coming back into the sheriff's office for another interview?
yes.
And then later on that night, about 10:45 PM, did you get a text message from the defendant? A rather long text message?
She's texted me multiple times that night, yes.
Do you remember the specific content of that text message?
I don't for that time frame.
Okay, if I showed you a report, would that refresh your memory as to the specific content of that text message?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
This paragraph here. Had a chance to review that? And for the record, what I'd handed to Ms. Bethel is pagination 01-0043. Did that refresh your memory as to this longer text message?
Yes.
What did the text message say to you?
She was asking what I wanted from her, and she was saying that she was being set up and that she learned that information from a fellow Blue with El Paso County.
Was that basically an implication that she had an inside source to the investigation to you?
Yes.
Was that, did that turn out to be true?
No, it was not true.
Did she also express during that text message the same sort of theme that she was upset about her daughter being in the house with people from the sheriff's office, men from the sheriff's office?
Yes.
Did she relay in that particular text message the idea that she could hear what was being discussed inside the home because of cameras or something in the home?
Yes,
Did you respond to her?
I did.
What did you respond with?
I asked her if she had any information to help me find Gannon.
Did you also invite her to come into the sheriff's office to talk with you?
Yes,
Did she accept, or what happened?
she declined.
I'm gonna retrieve that page from you. And then just a few minutes after that, 11:52 PM, is this the FaceTime call that you got from the defendant?
Yes,
Was this a recorded FaceTime call?
yes, it was.
Audio recorded?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach with People's Exhibit 336?
You may.
Do you recognize People's Exhibit 336?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
It is a FaceTime interview with Letecia.
Have you had a chance to listen to the content of that disc?
Yes, I have.
Is the recording file on there a fair and accurate representation of the audio of that FaceTime call?
Yes, it is.
Here, at this time, I'd move for admission of People's Exhibit 336 and ask for permission to publish.
All right, you may go ahead.
What, are you accepting it as being admitted?
Yes, yes, it's admitted.
Okay.
You can go ahead and play it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was distracted because I was looking down at this. This is, while it says FaceTime, it's only audio, right?
It's only audio, yeah. And just so that the record is clear, I never did hear whether there was an objection or not from defense as to it moving admission.
All right. All right, Exhibit 336 will be admitted.
Go ahead.
So just, I'm just trying to figure out, I got your message about something, I talked to you earlier, you didn't say anything else, I'm just trying to I'm confused at what you want me to do, what's going on. You talked to me, now you want to talk to me again.
Well, you sent me that message saying, I don't know what you want from me, so.
Yes, because, I mean, my child couldn't leave, I couldn't go home, I don't have anywhere to sleep. I mean, like, I just don't understand.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, that sort of kind of came out of left field for me. All I'm trying to do is gather information to find Gannon.
I don't understand what you mean came out of left field. My own child could not leave, so how is that out of left field?
What do you mean your child couldn't leave?
She was trying to go to Starbucks and was left there and forced to stay there with men in and out the home by herself.
Okay, I don't know what happened at your home. I know that she was offered the opportunity to come into the office and she didn't want to, so she didn't go into the office.
But what does she need to go in the office for? She can't go get food. She can't go get coffee and had to be asked why she gets coffee. Either Starbucks app to see that she gets coffee like every day. Hello.
Is there anything more that you might be able to share with me to help me find Gannon?
Just give me this.
Where are you now?
You keep asking me this over and over and over.
Where are you now?
I'm not going in to talk to you
Okay.
without an attorney when you already talked to me earlier.
Okay. That's perfectly fine.
But I just don't understand what's going on.
Do you have any further information to give me that may help me find Gannon? Any new developments, new information?
I told you this.
Okay. Well then, I'm gonna go ahead and end the conversation then, because we've already spoken.
Okay, so why do you keep saying because someone came and looking for me, wanting me to go talk to them, so now it's you. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
You and I have already spoken. If you don't want to come in to speak with me at the office, that's completely fine.
But why was someone?
I don't know. And so what I'm saying at this point in time, Letecia, is if you don't have any other information for me to actively look through to find Gannon, there's no point in me continuing this conversation. I need to get off the phone here and start working on leads and developments.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
So, first of all, where were you when you got that FaceTime call?
I was in the sheriff's office.
The other noises that you can sort of hear in the background, do you know what those other noises were?
To me, if I remember correctly, it sounded like windshield wipers on a car.
Okay, making that weird moaning sound?
Yes, they're rhythmic.
Okay. The sounds like potentially her demeanor is a little bit different than what was happening at Starbucks. How would you describe that?
She was angry with me.
And angry because of the idea of trying to get her down and talk to you at the sheriff's office?
I'm not exactly sure why she was angry with me, but she was angry with me.
What was your goal? What were you trying to achieve as you're accepting this FaceTime call from her?
I thought that maybe she had additional information for me to follow up on so I could find Gannon.
And did she resist that giving you additional information that might help find Gannon?
Yes.
Besides the fact that she's expressing anger, did she have a consistent personality with what you had experienced in a previous phone call and at Starbucks?
Yes.
There was reference made by her that she wasn't going to come down and talk to you at the sheriff's office unless she had an attorney.
Correct.
Did that indicate that she had a good understanding of what her rights might be if she does come down?
Yes.
Ruled.
What was your answer?
Yes.
And then did you basically throughout that night, early morning hours, were you getting text messages from the defendant?
Yes, I was.
What was the nature of those text messages?
A lot of them were about her, focused around her. I kept asking her to come in to talk to me if she had any additional information for me. And eventually in the early morning hours of the 29th, she gave me a story that she needed to talk to me. She was asking for a friend if we released information to the media. I told her we did not. She said something that had happened to her and she couldn't tell me around Albert because he would be mad and would become violent. And I ultimately arranged an interview for her, which was supposed to start at 10 o'clock at the sheriff's office on that Wednesday.
10 o'clock a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. Was it odd to you, as you're describing those text messages, the early text messages, that the focus from her perspective was on her as opposed to finding Gannon?
Absolutely, yes.
Why was that odd?
In my experience, investigating other crimes and investigating other missing children, the parents are always willing to give me whatever information they can to find their child. And I've never experienced a parent being concerned about their own well-being or welfare while their child is missing.
In those text messages, did she also describe injuries that Gannon had suffered?
Yes.
What were those?
She said that he had blood on him.
Did she say from cuts?
Yes.
Did she also describe burns?
Yes.
Did she deflect any cause of those injuries away from herself?
Yes.
Did she in fact say that she did not hurt Gannon?
She did.
At that stage of the investigation, was that an odd development that she's now indicating that he was hurt, but she didn't hurt him?
Yes.
In what way?
Most times, if you don't know what happened to somebody, you wouldn't put yourself out there to say that you didn't do something to that person.
So you mentioned that you arranged in these text messages to have the defendant show up for an interview at the sheriff's office at 10 a.m. on January 29th, which would be Wednesday. Did she show up at 10 a.m.?
She did not.
Were you able to have any contact with her around that time frame to indicate where she might be or why she wasn't there?
I did text her, yes.
Did you get any responses?
She eventually did respond to me and told me that she had to put measures in place because she was being, or excuse me, her daughter was being stalked and her family was receiving death threats. And so she wasn't able to come in until she got those things taken care of.
Was there any indication, I mean, the investigation that either her or her daughter was actually receiving death threats?
No.
What time did she arrive?
12 o'clock noon.
All right, may I approach with 337?
You may.
Detective, or I'm sorry, I keep doing that. Miss Bethel, do you recognize People's Exhibit 337?
I do.
What do you recognize it as?
It is a copy of the interview I conducted along with Detective Kat Houston with Letecia at the Office of the Sheriff.
Is this the interview from January 29th, 2020 starting at roughly 12 p.m.?
It is.
Have you had a chance to review the contents of, I think that's actually a thumb drive or a portable drive, right?
Yes.
Is the content of that thumb drive a fair and accurate representation of that interview of the defendant?
It is.
All right, at this time, I'd move for admission of People's 337.
Mr. Cook,
No objection.
Exhibit 337 will be admitted. Go ahead.
And Your Honor, permission to publish, and just for reference sake, this recording is 4 hours, 19 minutes and 46 seconds long. And so we will have to stop it for the lunch break and then probably a second time as well.
Okay. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, what we'll do is, this is both video and audio, right?
It is.
Okay. So we're going to start this. We will take a break, a normal lunch break. We'll flex that to a reasonable breaking period. And then we'll send you on your way and we'll come back. But in the meantime, start with that. And Ms. Bethel, you can step down and sit in some place that's a little bit more comfortable for that long a period of time. And prosecution, go ahead.
Thank you. Kind of slide it to when they actually come in the room.
Good idea.
And then just because you're in here and you're in our building and stuff, do you mind if I just pat you down really quick? That's how we hug. I just need you to FaceTime me for sure if you need me. Yeah, go ahead and put your arms out for me and just separate your legs slightly for me. There you go. Nothing that's gonna like poke me or anything. Like you're not diabetic or anything, are you? No. Okay. With the phone. Anything in your purse? That's like. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Right, if you want to see on the couch. We'll be right back with you. Thanks.
Your Honor, just while we're actually watching this part, I do want to put something on the record. Normally, I wouldn't necessarily want to play the dead time when there's not an interview happening, but I think her actions inside the room are also relevant for mental health issues.
That's
So
your call.
I'm playing it differently than I
All
normally.
right, that's your call.
How you doing? Did you get some sleep?
I haven't eaten today.
Oh my goodness. Want something to eat? I've got some stuff.
I would love that.
What would you like? I've got some pizza hot pockets and some tamales, a breakfast burrito.
Hot pockets would be good, but I mean, you don't have to like. I don't.
No, we can get you
Okay.
something. Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah. Let me get that started for you. I have like Coke and Sprite and like apple juice. Do you want something like that?
You have diet?
We searched high and low
Okay,
for
I'll just
diet.
take a
There's
regular-
no diet.
I'll
Like,
take a regular Coke. Thank you.
all the vending machines are even sold out.
Thank you so much for getting that.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's my card, just so
Okay.
you have it, so I don't forget later. I'll get that, Judge.
Okay.
So that's my partner, Detective Houston. I know you saw Mark with me yesterday. I work with a couple different people.
So you're like in charge of.
No, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm in charge. It's just, we all pitch in and help out where we can. So, Mark helps me whenever I'm out and about, and Kat helps me whenever I'm here.
Right.
So she's gonna be hanging out with us. And I also have something going on. So if this ends up going over, which
Right.
is totally fine, I just want you to know who Kat is in that. Okay.
No problem.
Where did you park? Did you park in the garage?
Mm-hmm.
The garage that's right behind our building?
I got a parking ticket. Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
perfect. For validation, what kind of vehicle were you in? So that I can put that on the validation slip whenever because I'll give you something to turn in so you don't have to pay.
Yeah, it's a Volkswagen Tiguan.
It's a Volkswagen Tiguan?
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see, what else? So I'm just gonna go through my normal spiel with you.
Okay.
I know that we talked last night, but because you're in here in the police building, I want you to know certain things, okay?
Right.
So first of all, you're in here voluntarily. You can leave.
Okay.
You just have to let me know that you want to leave.
Right.
Because I need to escort you out of the building, okay? If there's ever a time that you need to take a break, you need the bathroom, you need more water, you're still hungry, whatever it is, let me know, okay? I can't read your mind, so I need you to let me know what's going on with you.
Okay.
So that I can help you.
Mhm.
Okay? Because the whole purpose of this, of us talking, is to gather some information. And I
I
know
have a
you.
question about that. I understand that. I know it's recording and all that. It's totally fine. But does that like usually stay within the court and stuff like that? And I'm just asking
Yeah. So this
because
is
I'm gonna have to tell you some very personal things. that-
okay. And that's perfectly
Right.
fine.
Yeah,
and
okay.
and so it is not our common practice to go and,
Okay,
and be
that's what I was
releasing
gonna ask.
stuff like
Okay.
that. Also, another little admin thing that I do just to sort of kind of cover my butt. whenever I have people in here talking is to go over a Miranda waiver. It doesn't mean that you're in trouble. It's just because you're in a police station and I want you to be absolutely certain of your rights.
Right.
Okay? So I'm going to go over that with you right now. So you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you can afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. Okay. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Right. Do you understand each of the rights that I've explained to you? Yes. And having these rights in mind, do you wish to speak with me? Yes. Okay. So if you could circle yes, or I'm sorry, circle yes and then initial. It's sort of redundant, but if you'll initial next to yes. And then down at the bottom is an X here. If you'll sign that for me. Now, sorry, this was, I got a new watch and it doesn't like to work for me. It's 12:10. Thank you. So, because, you know I met with you yesterday. We talked on the phone, we texted, we've been talking with each other a lot. But because this is recorded, I want to get, let's start from the basics. Okay. Of who you are. You have your ID? Yeah. In your purse? Well, those are my glasses. Yeah, this. What are they? This. I haven't heard of that. Is that a new? It's like a Quay brand. Quay. Yeah. They're really good. They're like better in like the micro quarters and things like really? That. Yeah. Okay. I know this is your South Carolina ID. Thank you so much. What's your middle name?
Well, it's I do my maiden name, which is Hardin, Hardin.
Hardin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that's your maiden name? All right. Let me just write downstairs the deal number. Have a given middle name?
Lynn.
Lynn. L-Y-N-N?
Yes, ma'am.
There you are. Thank you. What's a good phone number for you in case I need to get a hold of you?
843
Okay.
655 7460. I don't ever drink sugar, so this is probably going to be like so good.
What is, in case I need to send you any documentation via email, how can I do that?
TECIA, like my name, Lynn, and then 2006 at yahoo.com.
Are you on any social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram?
Well, I wasn't for a long time, but just recently I just got like my Facebook back because we didn't have for like 2 years. So I do have Facebook, but I've always had Instagram, but it's mostly like a travel YouTube type thing.
Okay, what's Facebook?
It's just my name.
Is it Letecia or Tisha?
It's under Tisha.
I'm sorry, you said it's under Tisha?
Oh, actually, it's not. It's because I abbreviated it. It's TT.
Is it your same last name? Stauch.
Yeah, because I really don't like, my first name, I'm always like, oh, Kesha. They're like, what Kesha? So I just put T because
Have I been saying your name wrong?
No, you haven't, but I always try to change it. My mom didn't like it, so like we tried to change it. So yeah, so I just gave up, just to put T.
What do you want me to call
You
you?
can call me. You can call me Tisha, which is my
Tisha. Okay.
We always have a name we don't like or something.
And you said Instagram.
Now my Instagram is under Dr. Stauch.
Dr. what?
Stauch.
Is it the spelling of your last name? Okay.
Because I have my doctorate degree in education.
Okay. I'm like, is this like a Dr. Pimple Popper kind of thing? So it's for your education doctorate. All right. And then address that I need to send if I need to mail anything.
It's 6627 Mandan Drive.
Mandan Drive.
And then 80925.
And where are you working?
Well, I was working with WD3, but I didn't want to work as a teacher anymore. So I decided I was going to be a flight attendant. So that's currently what I started doing with Spirit. So I had been going back and forth doing like FAA. First you have to get like a study guide. I know you probably like, oh, you have your doctorate degree, you want to be a flight attendant, you know, I just like to travel. But my goal is to like teach online too and do the flight attendant so I could do both. Sure. So I've been looking over my books with Spirit and like things like that so that I could go to training. So I was supposed to go to training. We get like a training date February, March, April. So in the meantime, I was just doing like subbing at the early college. That's why I told you early college, picking up sub shifts and stuff like that.
Okay, so you're more of a substitute.
Well, I was just a fifth grade teacher at French, but teaching has gotten so difficult in the elementary schools. I don't want to do it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like in between. I just finished working with them, and
Yeah, I'm sure kids nowadays are a handful, right?
it's hard because I did special ed for so long, because that's what my doctorate's in, and then you're like, oh, like
You get
you
burned
try
out.
to help so many people, and it's just hard.
All right. So you're gonna do flight attendant with Spirit?
Well,
Have you been picked up by them yet?
Well, I got an offer letter from Spirit, an offer letter I just got one yesterday from SkyWest.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I like SkyWest is because they have a domicile in Colorado Springs and in
Mhm.
Denver. So you can actually like work there, and I could do both at the college. So I was gonna, I thought it was something that great. I was gonna do like Pikes Peak, and like, I'm sure I wouldn't have a problem because I just finished this past year. I was going to just do them both. And then, so I hadn't decided, but now that SkyWest just had offered it, I was like, that would be perfect because it was just like centrally located, you know. So
Right.
you could come home all the time.
Yeah.
So that was a big problem that we had, is because I was going to take the Spirit job and then I wouldn't be based anywhere. They don't have a base anywhere in our area. So
Oh.
like I would have had to be in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
So I would never get to see anybody at home. And then you like stay in these crash pads. Are you familiar with it?
We were on vacation with some people who, the wife used to be a nurse, and she actually transitioned into being a flight attendant.
Right.
She was telling us all about it, actually.
Right, yeah, so-
it's scary, like,
Started getting-
familiar.
I did start getting scared about it being in Vegas, and I was like, man, I'll never get to see everybody at home, and like, I mean, I love the travel part, so then I was stuck with traveling but being alone, or traveling with everybody else, but maybe not as much here. So, but anyway, that was in a nutshell. I was kind of in a self-evaluating. Is it okay if I just stop that? Because it's like
That's fine.
drives me crazy. But yeah, so I was in like a self evaluation type thing, trying to figure out, you know, transitioning from education and never having like another career. And then like worrying about how people would look at you like, oh, you have a doctorate degree and you're a flight attendant, you know, you guys like don't make money.
Right.
You know, so.
My niece is actually a flight attendant, so
Yeah.
for Southwest.
They said that's the best one, and whenever they have openings, it shuts the website down.
Oh,
That's what I heard.
that's pretty awesome. I didn't know about that.
And apparently it's really hard to get into because
Mhm.
they're supposed to like handle emergencies in the air. So
Yeah, and like the training is so. You think people just think we will serve people, but the training is so.
I heard it's very intense.
Yeah, they like do ditching exercises. They kick people out every day. If you're late for class for 1 minute, kick you out.
Oh, wow.
And I
That's good. We need standards like that whenever
Yeah.
we're
So like,
flying.
and let me just tell you this in case it comes up like somewhere. But Spirit flew me out to do the December 20-something training, right? Problem is, I didn't have anybody to watch Harley. And Albert was working night shifts. And so it's always hard because it's always on me to find babysitters for everybody, all the kids. It's always on me. So I get out there and he was supposed to help. I know she's 17. We let her stay by herself, whatever. But through the night, because he was working 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., that kind of scared me.
Yeah.
So like she just joined the Air Force. So like I know she's gonna have to learn how to like shoot a gun, protection, but you know, like she's not ready yet. Mature, like she's very mature, but she's not ready. So I came back, you know, and I was like talking to them. I just told them I was like, my daughter's at home, whatever, and they're like, we can move you to the next class. Like I think it was February, whatever. So anyway, so just in case you're like, oh, I thought you were, but I did fly out. They flew you out or whatever. And I came back because I was panicking about her, the dogs, everybody to take care of. So
Okay.
she's your baby, right?
yeah.
So, why don't we talk a little bit about
what's going on. So I understand. So initially you didn't tell me some things because Albert was there. And when we say Albert, we're talking about Eugene.
He doesn't like Eugene because his dad is Eugene and he was a child molester.
Okay.
So like he like raped his sister. So he freaks out about the word, like if he hears Eugene. But I said maybe that might help you if you don't have to call him Eugene, it probably would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is take me through Sunday into Monday.
Okay.
And be as detailed as possible as to what you were doing, who was there, where you were at, how long you spent, et cetera, et cetera. Because the more detail I have, it might spark something for me.
Is it okay if I take my notes out? Because like I wrote down all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I was like, I tried to write down anything he might like say, and just in case, because I have like notes from different things or whatever. So we already talked about the beginning things. I figured you read that. So my paper is that we're at the same story that we started with, but then you want me to start with Sunday, which was the day that we went hiking, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we went hiking at Garden of the Gods. We actually, did you see the picture from Garden of Gods?
I didn't.
Okay, so we have pictures where we went to Garden of Gods. We were going to take the dog for a walk, but then my daughter got called in to work because she works at Massage City.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, we're going to go hiking. Crazy thing is, like, it's always like you got one kid likes to hike a lot, the other one don't. So spent the whole time like, come on, let's go. We got to burn calories. Excuse me, all those type of things. Gannon, he started having a stomach problem and he pooped in his pants. So it kind of cut our hike a little bit short. But I was like, it's okay. It was kind of cold. I say cold for me, but I'm used to like 80-degree weather, so it was kind of getting cold. So we decided to go home.
Okay.
So we go home. I don't really remember what we did the rest of the day. It was probably just like random things around the house. I feel like we went to dinner. Oh no, we didn't get dinner because he wanted to take a bath. That's it. So he came in and that's when he asked me about the whole bath ball.
Okay.
And he had pooped in his pants, so I thought he wanted to like take a shower, so I gave him a bath bomb.
Okay.
So went through the night. We were just doing like a regular random. I feel like I don't know who I should be talking to, but
you can talk to both of us.
We used to be doing like random things around the house. It's Sunday, no football on. You know, I mean, I don't know like specific every little detail we did, but just a normal everyday situation. Other than he was in a lot of pain because he gets really bad. Is it okay if I like show you like graphic, like not graphic, but like with my hand motions?
Yeah, that's fine.
He'll get where he has to like poop, and like I swear they're like that big. It might take like 2 to 3 weeks. He has like a GI problem, so because he takes Vyvanse, so like he had went the whole time without Vyvanse. So whenever that happens, sometimes it'll get where his stomach like wants to work, but then like can't. So he spends a lot of time in the bathroom, like kind of like hurting and things like that.
Okay.
All right. So then at this point, the dogs, we have 2 new little, a Frenchie and an English bulldog. They're really like,
French and English bulldog.
Yeah, they are. They're really kind of like Sadie's the French bulldog. She's kind of like high maintenance. But the kids always help out a lot with them, but Gannon wasn't feeling too well. And the dogs, they all, how they like know someone's not feeling well. So they were all laying down there and it was gassy, like very, very, they're back for that, very, very gassy or whatever. And, life goes on. But so Gannon had started a candle. Again, normal day. He's very like responsible in terms of like, if you give him something and say, do this, and like a list to prepare, it's fine. So we let him, do things like that. Like Albert lets him like use the box cutter to cut the boxes down, and like teaching things to be like a independent, growing up adolescent. So I didn't see a problem with him, light a candle, whatever.
Okay.
Well, I don't remember the exact time. I'd have to look at when the fire thing went off. I was tired. Albert had left because we spent the whole night up prior with Saturday because he was going to train in Oklahoma. So we stayed up most of the night.
Okay.
Just everybody was going to miss each other, wouldn't see each other for a while, whatever. So I was kind of like, tired. I had dozed off for a little bit. And Lena asked me, could she stay up and still watch the rest of her iPad or whatever. Usually I'm always like, no, strict, like, hey, no, you can, whatever. But I did feel kind of bad because it was just her birthday, and at the same time being her birthday, we had a lot of stuff going on.
Right.
So we made it about her, but like I was trying to give her a little bit extra because not everybody got to make it there. And we went all out for Gannon's birthday. Like we took him to a Rockies game. We took friends with him. I mean, like popcorn, hot dogs. But we didn't do that with her. But in her defense, we bought her a Switch. So it was kind of like different, but she didn't understand that. So I let her stay up longer than she's supposed to as like a, kind of sort of bribery, but. So stayed up a little bit later. And so she was still she's a very hard sleeper, and she's hard to like pick up, move if she falls asleep, whatever. But I could tell she was just barely asleep when I went in there. So it starts beeping, like a beep, 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 beep. And I thought that someone was coming in the house. So I look and don't see anyone at any doors or hear anything. So I was like, I thought it was just a sensor. So I hit in our 2564, which is our alarm code, but it didn't go off. And I was like, what's wrong with this thing? So I walked through Lena's room, which the alarm is in her room, and I walked back like through the top part of the house, and you've been in the house, so you know the top part of the house.
I haven't been in there.
Okay, so there's the upper level, and then there's the below basement. So I like walked back and forth or whatever. I didn't see anything going on. Then it started saying fire, 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 fire. Like it kept saying fire.
Oh, wow.
So and I thought it was you know how like so there's like sensors for your fire alarm, and then there's sensors for your like alarm.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just going to everything trying to like ban it while it was going off, because I was thinking kitchen fire, nothing's wrong, whatever. So I was putting like towels over some of the sensors because I thought that was like monitoring the fire thing, whatever. And then I realized it kept going and going. So then I see smoke coming up from the downstairs. So I run downstairs, and my idea of a big fire is anything that I see on fire pretty much, and there's smoke, that's just because I grew up in the country. So, like I remember bonfires and like things like that, So there was smoke coming up through the basement. So the basement so if you walk down the basement, there's a sofa and stuff over here. It was coming up through the basement. So I like run back up the stairs, go grab Lane, and luckily, my point telling you about her being not a rough sleeper, she woke right up. So she wrote back up, and I like almost like grabbed her, and I was like, get up, get up, get up, get up. I gave her the keys. I said, can you go? I don't remember the exact order, but I said something along the lines of, can you go take the dog to Daddy's truck and sit there and wait?
Right.
So I don't remember the order of how we all ran out the house, but I know that at that point I did. She ran out, and I can't remember if I ran out to make sure they got the truck or if she ran out by herself. I don't remember that part, but I do know that I know that they had gotten in the truck. I came back inside, run back downstairs, and that's when I was trying to get Gannon, because I couldn't I didn't know how to get everybody at once. So my main thing was to get the front people out, and then go. So then I ran back downstairs to get Gannon. And then the fire was on the floor over here, then on the sofa. So I'm pretending this is the sofa and this is our floor. So it was right here and right here. And I saw the candle that was over here. So there was covers everywhere, because the kids always get on them about, they leave a lot of covers laying around all the time. I mean, there's like 10 clothes and LOLs and blankets and all this. So they were all right here. So I take a whole bunch of them, and I go and like basically smash down on the sofa and the fire to put it out. So I got a burn, and then I was like, get up again, and started running at that point, because it wakes him up. He's alert. He's realizing that the covers and everything's on fire, the carpet's on fire, and we all go outside. So we get in Albert's truck, and we drive. And I drove off in panic, because I saw that I put the fire out. So I knew that there was no, like nothing wrong, like it wasn't gonna keep going. I drove off in panic, because I just like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Like we burnt the carpet, we done this and this. Gannon's upset, freaking out, because he's scared he's gonna get in trouble and da 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 da. So like the whole talk was going on. So we drove maybe around the block a little bit and came right back. So we came back in and like developed a plan for the next day to figure out. Honestly, we were gonna fix the carpet and try to like not say anything. And the reason for that is because like Albert freaks out about every little thing. If the kids do something and I'm on like me, and he'll be like, you didn't do this, you weren't being a good mom, you weren't doing this, you weren't doing that. And so we both kind of were like a little like worried about it. And he gets very like crazy, like if something goes wrong. So That was the plan. Go to sleep, rest. He was going to stay out of school. We were going to get the carpet fixed and then go from there. Plus, stomach hurting. So Lena didn't want to sleep in her room. You know, everybody was still kind of like frazzled. And I think Lena slept with me or on the sofa. I brought the dogs up. And again, he wanted to go in his room at that point because he was already sleeping on the sofa. So that's where Sunday, like pretty much kind of like stopped and everybody went to bed and yada, yada, yada. And I think I sent Albert messages because he was sleeping, was on a different time zone and he didn't see him that night. So.
Okay.
And I didn't feel that no one was in harm. Make sure I say that because the fire was not going. Now, I know that Gannon had like black marks all on his shirt, like smoke marks. But he had on a long sleeve shirt and a short sleeve shirt because sometimes he has on whatever. He had on a short sleeve shirt with a long sleeve shirt. So I didn't see him in any kind of like nothing other than the little burns that we had. I didn't see.
Where did you see
anything
burns
to
on
that
Gannon?
All right, so with Gannon, I just saw that. Okay, so like on the top, like right here, so like say the shirts are here, so like right here there was a burn, and the reason for that was I think whenever like he was trying to come up, it kind of burned him a little bit. I'm not gonna make an assumption. I don't really know. And as far as that, I didn't see anything else. Like I didn't know any like other differences or anything like that. All I saw was that. I said, "You okay?" He ran out the house. He was firing out the house. Everything was normal. Yada yada yada. Now I'm gonna let you know in a little bit why he was bleeding. But
Okay.
at that point, when you get to the Monday morning thing, I'll let you know about that.
Describe the flames for me. How tall are these flames? Is it like smoldering on the carpets or kind of creeping across like a grass fire, or is it like coming up, working its way up the couch? Like how is it?
Well, I really don't know. I know that it was like here, centralized on the floor, but like I could see. I think the smoke might have like kind of intimidated me more because I spent the whole night coughing. So I think that kind of intimidated me so much because I couldn't. The visibility was starting to be a little bit, you know, like as if I had walked into a small little fire, and I was just afraid that it was gonna, because you know, like upholstery for the couch. That was my biggest concern, was the upholstery for the couch. So.
Okay.
So I would say, you know, it was like maybe like in this area, like right here. It wasn't like here.
So the flames were, 2-3 feet high, you think? How much light did you see coming off of this through the smoke?
No.
Okay, and that's fine if you don't know.
I'm not like a professional and I was in the moment of freaking out to like give you an accurate answer.
Sure.
Because I don't want to tell you what's here, and it might have been here. I don't want to tell you this, and it's. I don't know.
This is all based off of your memories to the best of your ability.
Right.
And that's all it is.
I
Okay.
do know that I saw covers coming up on fire.
What was what covers were coming up on fire?
Like he had a cover on because he was sleeping on the sofa.
What
sitting on
was
the
he
sofa.
covered with?
What do you mean?
What kind of blanket? You had mentioned there was LOLs, there's quilts.
Which color?
What blanket was he using?
Oh, I'm not sure. There was a couple that were there. There was a black. They were all. I put them all back in that bin that was sitting there. Did you? You said you didn't.
I haven't been in
Okay,
there.
so there was black. It was like a little furry. There was watermelon ones. I don't remember specifically which one he had, but I know that there was blankets in the area because they always leave blankets around. It was a mermaid one around. But the whole operation of when I grabbed them and put it out, I grabbed them all and done it. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Were any of them like damaged whenever that happened?
Oh yeah, they all. I left them all there when I showed them that night that, like they were damaged or whatever.
Okay. Well, I haven't been in the house either.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was speaking to you like you.
Yeah, no, I didn't go into the house either, so I was like trying to make sure that we're
Yeah.
always.
So then Gannon decides that he doesn't want to go to school because of his tummy issues or because he's going to help you with the carpet. What is?
It was kind of a combination of both.
Okay, and who excused him from school?
But I had texted Albert and said, could he not go to school for his stomach?
Okay.
Because he was hurting with his stomach, but also the whole plan was that we were going to figure it out.
So who actually contacted the school to excuse him?
It wasn't me. I didn't. I don't know.
Okay.
Did someone contact? Because I didn't.
I would assume that somebody would contact the school, or you probably would get like a phone call. I know with my kids' school, if they're not there by 8:15, the office.
Then they would call Albert, not me, because he would have the like the automated system where he's like, your child's missing. I mean, your child is missing from school today, whatever.
Okay. So that's Sunday, and you're saying a lot of we and that kind of thing. So you mentioned earlier that Harley had gone to work.
Mhm.
She got called into massage envy.
Mhm.
So who went on the hike?
So it was originally going to be all of us. Harley, me, Gannon, and Lena. And then Harley got called in. She switched shifts with someone, but then that person, like, I guess the policy is if that person agrees to take your shift, but then don't come, you still have to come or something. I don't know. But, so she just was like, I have to go. She's only gonna be working there like a few more weeks or whatever. So I told her, I was like, don't burn any bridges. I know it sounds crazy that you have to do that, but you got to go in. So she went into work on Sunday.
Okay. So it ended up being you, Gannon and Lena that went hiking.
Right.
Okay. And so then let's go through Monday. Yep.
So we wake up on Monday. Normal. How we wake up. And you're like, everybody gets up, whatever. Gannon stays in bed. He already knows that we are going out and about today. That was the plan. I walked Lena out because usually Gannon walks her outside. So I walked Lena out to the front door and around to make sure I seen her around the corner to get to the bus stop. And she did.
Okay.
I come back inside. I don't remember if I laid down a little bit. I probably played on my phone for a little bit, wasted a little bit. Because she goes outside at like 6:50, 6:55. Still early. Take the dogs out, things like that. Well, I go down, start talking to Gannon about, hey, like, this is the plan. Like, go downstairs, the basement, whatever. I say basement, but as in, like, his room is downstairs. It's a furnished basement. And I realized that Gannon, he actually had, like, marks, like, on his arm. And they were actually, like, peeling at that point. And I swear, I did not realize that they had, I don't know if, like, they start, like, because burns are sitting there. I don't know if they started, like, peeling, like, overnight or, like, whatever. And he has, like, really bad anxieties. So whenever things are peely or, like, things like that, he bites his own nails a lot anyway. Like, anything that's, like, loose and things like that, he bites them. So I don't know if, like, as burns, like, burned a little bit. And when I do this, I don't mean, like, I'm giving you a location. I'm just saying, like, as in burns, like, on your skin. I guess when, like, like, pull a little bit stretchy or whatever. So, like, on your arm, it kind of gets a little stretchy and peeling. Mm-hmm. So then I was, like, freaked out because I was like, I didn't know that his arms were like that. So I'm, like, crying because, and this is where I have to start telling you, like, I'm, like, very, like, I was scared because my thought process was Albert is going to kill me. Like, because I made a mistake as a parent and forgot to, like, really check him down. And he really got a little bit more burns than he should have. So I was freaking out because, like, he's going to kill me. And Gannon was like, it's okay. Like, there was blood. And, like, he had on his arm. And as it was peeling, I should have called. Where did they have blood at? I should have called the hospital and just asked, I don't know enough about burns. But I should have called the hospital and just asked, like, I made a mistake. I did. I swear to y'all, I didn't know they were that bad. I did it all. So I feel horrible. Here I am. I know it's not, about me, but as a person, I was feeling horrible that I didn't call Albert to say, they're like this. So I told him, I said, okay, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put some, like, aloe on your arms, and things like that. And I was like, it's going to be okay. We're going to fix it. We're going to, and all I kept thinking about was we're going to fix it. And I don't know in my mind how I was going to fix it as far as he wasn't in pain. He wasn't saying, like, I'm hurting or anything like that. He was more of, like, peeling it. Like, like, it was like, it was like a boil. Am I saying the right word? Boil, like, blister? Like a blister. Like it was pulling a blister, Okay. So there was blood, and then so I'm, like, holding him, and I had blood on me. And when I say blood, let me explain to you. I don't mean, like, dripping out, pouring everywhere blood. So let me not, like, give you that thought process, because sometimes when I say, like, if I say flames, to me, I'm like, this is a big flame, There was blood. So I was just so like freaked out. So I was like, we'll just clean it up. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out.
Where's the blood at?
So the blood was on his arms, on his like sheet that he had, which we washed the sheet. So it was on his sheet, it was on his arms, and he had some on like his arm had, I guess from like sleeping or whatever, he had some on the wall. So we cleaned up everything. I put like garnish the am I saying the right garnish the like the wrap thing, but a wrap thing, and I was like, we'll check it with the aloe and see if it gets better. Because my next thing was I'm gonna assess the situation in so many hours, and if it looks, because I did look online and it said like if it turns a yellow color that it could be infected or whatever, and I was like, that was gonna be my next step. So I don't want you to think that I was like neglecting the fact that.
So you realize that he's got a burn. You do some treatment that you think is appropriate at the time, and then you tell yourself, you know, I'm gonna do this follow up with him. Okay. So then what happens after you take care again and make sure he's okay?
Honestly, I'm pacing the house, and I know there's two things I gotta fix, you know. And when I tell you that Albert will freak out over things, I just want you to know that. So I want you to think, picture in my mind of how I'm like afraid to be like, okay, I gotta fix these situations, and I need to fix them fast with carpet and things like that.
Okay.
So number one, I was like, I need to fix the carpet, and number two, I need to figure out, you know, like assess, like I said, does Gannon need to go get like some burn cream or whatever? So I said, let's get.
This is probably as good a time as I need to pause it and then pick back up after lunch.
Okay, I was wondering when we get there. Okay. Council approach for a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I can have everyone back in the jury room at say 1:20, we should be able to start this afternoon on time. What we're going to do is I've been talking with the attorneys, and when we come back, there's still going to be about 3 hours and 20 minutes or so of the video to go. We will take another break during that. That's just too long to have you sitting. So we will take another break during that, but that's what you can expect when you come back. So if you want to bring beverages or something like that, feel free to do that so that you have something to drink. It seems like it's getting a little warmer in the courtroom. When we came in this morning, it was a sweltering 64 degrees, but it's a little bit warmer now. So, and I expect it will be this afternoon as well. So anyway, we will see you at 1:20. All rise for the jury, please. Thank you. May all be seated. Record should reflect the jury has left the courtroom. Is there anything we need to take up outside the presence of the jury at this point in time? Prosecution?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Let's see everybody back. Then.